and welcome to the April month ahead. There's no Shawnee. There's no Shawnee.
He's gone.
At all, which is devastating. It means that, well, first of all, you get me, Mod Osborne, which isn't anywhere near the replacement. But it also means that everybody else bailed on us.
It's just you and I, isn't it?
It is the most ridiculously cosy of live streams. I don't know what we're going to do. I think one of the joys of this is that I am probably the person most likely to give away things that we shouldn't do, like we shouldn't talk about, and you're probably the most likely to do them, as in like develop them.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
So if things go well and we go on for hours and hours, then we'll probably have revealed something that we shouldn't. So let's see what happens. But yes, so Mod Ryan, hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
How are you today? You all right?
I'm good.
Yeah.
So we got you in because basically obviously lots of people are involved in developing content, but you are involved in almost everything this month, in a large proportion of it. Maybe, so we have Edgeville Rebuildathon.
Yep.
Oh,
that was Rebuild Edgeville. Yep, that's Mod Pie's project.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about Edgeville now?
No. I was just interested in your role in it.
Oh,
because obviously you kind of came to it slightly late.
Yeah, I just so Mod Pie did all the work on it, but he's busy with mobile stuff, so I picked it up to sort of push it through to release.
That's it. And going through the other things from the month ahead, there's the Safecracking update, which kind of you played a similar role.
Yeah, Mod Shogun's project helped out a little. He's currently in Sweden, so he asked for some help on that.
And then Line Firemaking is very much your baby.
Yep.
And then what we're going to talk about a little bit later is also the 5-year plan for skinning, which was delivered at RuneFest, but there's been some changes since, some updates that kind of convey what you were planning for the 5-year plan.
Sure.
And so we'll talk about that. Just a little note that if you're coming in a little bit late, that there is no Mod Shawnee for this stream, and that is because he's having a baby scan.
Yeah.
So,
do you want to show it, John? Do you want to show?
Yeah, he sent us on his phone. He's actually there. This is typical Shawnee. His most important thing to do was to text us immediately the scan, rather than congratulate his partner. There it is. There is a slight law foul in that there is a bit of a rock on there. I mean, it's obviously aged a bit in the womb. There we go.
I'm so happy for Shawnee.
I'm so happy for him. There you go, Shawnee. A little treat for you there. Anyway, LootScape today. You got a guaranteed clue scroll in your loot chest, so that's kind of skewed towards your level. So that's the difficulty of the clue depends on your total level, plus each elite has a chance of being upgraded to a master. But that's after this stream. So we're going to start with some hot questions. So some things that have been rising up on Reddit, forums, social media a lot recently. So we're going to cover those quickly. First of all was April Fool's.
Yep, that was.
Go on, can you remember it?
Yeah, what for RuneScape's April Fool's?
Yep.
Yeah, the video. There was the video, and in game we had the Ring of Res and the Ring of Random.
Yep.
I think that's it. Yeah,
that's it. That's good. Yeah. So quite a few questions. So a lot of people really loved them. And quite a few questions about why we took it away or whether or not we're going to bring them back. Mm-hmm. Is it something that people can have permanently? We had a chat, actually. So chatted away with Mod Drew and Mod Helen. These were the people that kind of developed the content, but also when it first popped up as a player idea, we loved it so much that we couldn't help but do it. So we kind of sat together and worked out a way that we could get it done. But we discussed that, and we really like that it is something that people get on April Fools and use, and it will come back repeatedly, rather than it being a permanent piece of content. If it was a permanent piece of content, it would be a joke that lasted all year, and people would stop using it, and we like the idea of people being excited about it coming back again.
So we're going to bring it back next year?
So we'll bring it back annually, but it won't be a permanent piece of content. So sorry to those of you who really wanted it to be around permanently. This isn't based on, we actually did the legwork in terms of working out whether or not it was going to be used for luring or scamming, or there'd be problems, are some of the random NPCs too big around banks, that sort of thing. Did all the legwork on that, but we, as developers, we just decided not to keep it in permanently and have it annual. Also, one thing that's risen to the top of Reddit that completely surprised us. You may think that we know about this, but we really didn't. Apparently, Crunchy and Tim are in the movie Ready Player One.
Really?
In a bar sequence, in the dark, in the background, playing chess. So I don't want to advise people to take in cameras into cinemas and take pictures of screens, but man, I would love to see that. I can't wait for it to come out on yeah, see if we can find it or get on the interwebs. But how cool is that?
Yeah, I didn't know that. So
that's it. I just love that moment. I'd love to have been in a fly on the wall when Steven Spielberg just went, Sorry,
RuneScape.
Yeah, RuneScape. We need to get that in there, right? Or somebody said, I'm sure it was just one of the computer graphics guys who's got a history in RuneScape.
Yeah,
It's like,
put it in. Yeah.
Just bang that in. Anyway, another piece of good news. So talking about Tutorial Island, talking about nostalgia, we're going to move on to Tutorial Island. Some people who are kind of eagle-eyed spotted that we did what we call an A/B test,
Yep.
which is something that appears in game only for a select group of players. So we did that earlier in the month, last month, to give Tutorial Island as a starting experience for some players and not for others. And we've got the results in because what we do with A/B tests, sorry, I'm taking the floor a little bit, but we are going to get to your stuff.
Talk to me.
What we do with A/B tests is we leave them in for about 4 weeks to find out whether or not they're worth, if it makes a difference, makes a change. So over that period, we've learned that the Tutorial Island, drumroll, is better than Ashdale in terms of keeping people in the game. So
Very nice.
whenever I know players were often saying like Ashdale isn't as good as Tutorial Island, but we reel out the stats and say no, it's just as good. They're just as good as each other. So why would we rip out Ashdale? We've been proving utterly wrong. It's certainly for like new players. So new players, as we call them, which is makes me think of Futurama and Snoo Snoo. Yeah, exactly. New entirely is the group that has the most dramatic effect on. I think those people who are coming back already know what they want to do, already know what they're doing. But for new starters, it really does have an effect. So we're just going to look into what that means for us. That might well mean permanence in some form. So more on that when we have it, I guess. And before we get into Edgeville Rebuildathon, I'm really sorry about that.
That's fine, no worries.
I'm just going by the script, which I wrote or helped to write.
Usually I read the chat, but John's made the chat really small, so I can't actually read the chat. That's fine, no worries.
Also, there was some of the biggest talk that we had over the past couple of weeks is the lack of an Easter update.
Yep.
So this was something that we did consciously in not giving an Easter update. The reasons being that we had previously polled it and Easter lost out to permanent content. And what we remembered from last year was there was a lot of conversation about doing less temporary content, doing more permanent content. And the idea of spending even more time doing temporary content when we could have been adding it to things like deep sea fishing, pieces of hate, that sort of thing. We didn't necessarily go directly into that, but maybe other permanent content that's coming up. We felt like it was the right choice. It's interesting to see how many people are talking about the Easter event and the lack of it, are really wishing it was there, particularly because Spring Fair, which is often considered to be an MTX update, was considered to take its place, which we never intended. That wasn't it, not at all. But yeah, so I think we're just going to look at it for next year and maybe consider doing something permanent that time. But in terms of, this hasn't impacted on Halloween or Christmas, we're still going to do those. We're really excited about the idea of mini questing, rather than doing those kind of repeatable skinning content, because we know that people seem to like those more. So don't worry, Halloween and Christmas are still coming. All right, Edgeville Rebuildathon. Right. So what is it? If you could summarise it.
So without spoiling much, there is a quest that once you complete it, something happens and you'll see that Edgeville is destroyed.
That's so sketchy. Like, everybody's done Ritual and Majrat, surely.
Okay, so spoilers, at the end of Ritual and Majrat quest, Edgeville is destroyed.
Yep.
I'm not going to say why, because that's still another spoiler. But yeah, so it's destroyed, and with this update, we've introduced the ability to essentially clean up Edgeville, mainly because, over the years, some people have said Edgeville's ugly, it's damaged, and also, I believe Pi wanted to just, he personally wanted to clean it up, and as I said, it's been mentioned a few times. Yeah. So what it is as a player, you run around, you sort of clean up Edgeville, repair the walls, clean up the debris from the river, sort of fix the fairy ring, it's sort of stuff like that, just to bring Edgeville back to the nice, homely place that it once was.
I mean, it's been quite a while, hasn't it? Because Ritual and Majrat was 7 years ago, 8 years ago?
What year, in 2018, 2011?
Something like that.
You reckon it's 2011?
Yeah. So why is it taking this long? I mean, it feels kind of late.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a question for me. I think that it's been mentioned, like you said, like some players talk about it saying, oh, can we ever clean up Edgeville? But it comes back to it wasn't sort of an immediate task for us to deal with because, there's other content we want to focus on. But I know ModPie picked it up in his tap time. He wanted to clean it up then. He showed it to, the rest of the floor and sort of I guess it got pushed from there. You'd know more than I about pushing
Yeah.
it to release.
Well, I mean, part of it is, it does feel a bit unfinished business, which of course is, one of our impetuses. We want to do more with it. And I don't know, it just feels like ticking that box. It feels like we can move on with Edgeville and do something else with it, perhaps, and that we've been holding back on Edgeville because of that. So yeah, I really like it for that reason. From the chat, we've got a question. Is Edgeville Rebuilding available for free to play?
No. It's currently a members-only feature.
Is that because it's locked behind Ritual?
It's because, to be honest, yes. It will be because the quest is a members quest.
Yeah.
To fix it. It's sort of, to be honest, it's a post-quest is now what this is. It's like a mini-quest post-Ritual of the Majorat.
I see. So if I complete Ritual of the Majorat now, it's almost like I'll get it on my quest.
Yeah, you'll get it
screen.
instantly sort of thing. It's, I can tell you now, in terms of code, it's actually named post-quest. So it's like the sort of post-quest thing.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's a members thing.
Yeah, sorry. You do get a pristine Edgeville as free-to-play, to be fair. Like, there's not much.
Yeah. But I guess if you've done Ritual of the Majorat and you're in free-to-play, then yeah, it is destroyed and you can't fix it.
Oh, no, you just have to buy membership. Right, well, what will this involve? We kind of talked about that. Is there anything we haven't talked about in terms of the event? Oh, sorry, it says event here, but of course it's worth mentioning it's not an event.
Yeah, it's not an event, so you can do it at any point. You can do it on release, or you could wait another 7 years, however long you said, if you want.
But it's not as if it suddenly goes dilapidated over a period of time.
No,
like Citadel. It's one and done. It's
one and done, yeah. So at the moment, if you've completed the quest, it's destroyed. With the update, you'll be able to run around, use a hammer or a broom, sort of clean up the scorch marks on the floor, repair the buildings. You'll get like a reasonable amount of just XP for sort of helping out.
Yeah.
And I don't know what other questions you have, but yeah, Mandarith is the guy that sort of you talk to and tell him that you want to clean up, and he sort of gives you a list of things to do, basically.
Yeah, and rewards, why would I do it? Is it something you could talk about?
Yeah.
I know we try to get sketchy about rewards, so I don't know if we keep something back.
I think we mentioned it in the video, I believe.
Yes.
But yeah, the rewards for it are, so you'll be able to clean up. Once you clean up, you get token XP for doing the various parts, and at the end, you'll now gain the ability to get Effie, the effigy pet.
Yes. It's important to note it's ability to get, isn't it? So it's not an immediate unlock.
Which you can get from rubbing dragonkin lamps.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
The final part.
The final part of it. Yeah. So not the layers. It's the final bit.
It's the final part.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And is there anything else in terms of rewards?
That is it.
So just the joy of doing your civic duty.
The joy of cleaning up this world that you live in.
Okay. How will it work for those who haven't seen Edgeville destroyed yet? It will just be clean Edgeville.
If you haven't seen Edgeville be destroyed yet, then you won't have the task of cleaning it up because it's not yet destroyed. So.
Yep. Is there any story in this? Is there any lore? I know Lorehound's kind of interested in that. Like, have we dropped a journal in here, or?
I think there's no specific like written lore, but there are a few. I think there's a nod at the end to the
direction we're going.
I think there's a nod to the Dragonkin.
Okay,
basically.
All right.
I mean, that's not a spoiler because you open Dragonkin lamps, so. But yeah.
Okay.
But that's about it.
So some Dragonkin stuff. Another question from the chat. Will this post-quest need levels to complete like construction? So are there requirements?
Good question. So you do get construction XP. I don't know if there's a required level, and if there is, I doubt it will be higher than what's required for the quest. Right, it wasn't meant to be sort of like a... I imagine if you were to complete the quest today with the Rex, you should straight away be able to clean it up.
Because there are so many quest Rex on Ritual of the Majorat, which means that you've already got skill levels.
I don't think there's any high. I'll check that and I'll find out. I don't think there is.
Yeah, we'll be posting in chats and social media afterwards. Okay, I don't have any other questions from the chat. Just having a look at now. What about the player submitted content for Edgeville cleanup?
Oh right, so Mod Meadows.
Yes.
Asked very late in the development if we could add some dialogue for this competition.
Like the little hint of bile in that. Like
I said,
scumbag.
I said by all means you can, but it won't be there on release. Okay. So I don't know where his competition is at right now, if it's still open or not. Check Reddit, 'cause I know it was on there. If not, message Mod Meadows. But he was hosting a competition for a certain character limit, writing a sort of your view as a villager of Edgeville.
Oh yes, that's it.
But then post
like from the ground.
Yeah, and once that competition has ended and we have a winner, that will be implemented basically.
Nice.
I don't know how soon after release. You could expect a couple of weeks. But yeah.
So another question from the chat: will it be required for Comp Cape? I guess if you're talking story or some Master Quest, like either of these.
So this is a Master Quest, Rec. I know that. So post. Yeah, as I said, Edgeville it's a post-quest sort of thing, so it's Master Quest.
Okay. All right, but not comp, not trim.
No,
right.
not trim.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, okay. So I think we've covered everything in Edgeville, unless anybody wants to quickly post something. It's also worth noting that this is Ninja Week, obviously Ninja release week.
Yep. Another big week.
It is another big week. I'm really chuffed with the response to the kind of patch notes. It's often quite easy to just say, oh, it's no release week, but we've kind of given extra resource to Ninja. They're doing a fantastic job. They've got some great stuff in this time around, but they've also posted the Ninja poll. So if you go in game now and you go to the poll system in game, you'll see that they've got, I think it's 15 questions. They've got 15 questions in there. Some are they're just really good. There's a lot of kind of broadcast ones, what should be broadcast or what shouldn't be. But some of the killer ones, for example, are, should we update the Dagonoth King pets to be in line with the new models? Because I know a lot of people thought they looked like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, stuff like that. So it's whether or not you actually feel like that look should be conveyed to the pets as well. So I'm really interested to see whether or not that one passes. Should we add an all-in-one God Wars Soul Stone? Yep. So an Omni Soul Stone, as it were.
Yeah, just to allow you to, well, exactly what you think it is.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a blog that's gone live at the same time. I think I'll have to check that because we were going to go into a bit more detail about how you obtain that Omni Soul Stone. And also, should the defense level of the Curses prayer book be removed? Because I know a lot of pures were quite interested in that. So we'll just see if those reach the threshold, and if so, we'll put them in game. All right, and some of this stuff that Ninja have been working on that are really good, you're going to see these soon, includes Tears of Guthix improvements.
Yes, so they're looking to, I don't know how many players know, but from old school they did a similar thing where I think they made it so that I don't know what you want to call them, the sort of
the tears
on the wall.
Yeah, that's it.
They last longer.
Cascading, sloshing tears.
But yeah, so Mod Melee was looking at doing a similar thing, and I think she's also looking at just making it easier, because right now when you click on one of the walls, it sort of makes you walk there. So if you want to cancel it, you can't. I think she made it so free walk.
It's kind of inverted commas easier because it's still got that feel of like things are moving around. You're going to at some point not have any tears in front of you, but they're going to be green. But it just feels a lot nicer. It doesn't feel as infuriating. It feels fairer, I think is probably the better.
Yeah, it's just a lot cleaner, I guess, is the good word for it.
And as suggested on Reddit, they are also looking to add the in-game clock to the lobby, which is cool. All right, next is Safecracking.
Yep.
Go on, what's your role in Safecracking? Yeah, right. So what is it? Because I know there's the Safecracking we announced at RuneFest, and there's the Safecracking that's in the month ahead. And I think there's, like, people are interested in knowing what it is.
So I don't think at RuneFest we went into much. It was
more a piece of concept art, wasn't it? It sold a dream.
Of that goblin upside down, like cracking the safes, which would be great.
You're not a goblin.
No,
you're not upside down.
No.
So yeah, there we go. Broken promises. We lied.
Just concept. Come on. So with this update, Mod Shogun was looking to create a new sort of thieving method that sits in between. I think it's 65.
Is it? Oh no, it's gone up recently.
65. It's around there.
It's whatever it is post capers. Is that right?
Yeah. So in the Thieves Guild, currently you can do capers, sort of little mini tasks for the Thieves Guild to sort of advance. And then once you've completed all of those, you can now sort of get into safecracking. You can safecrack if you happen to come across a safe in the world. You can try and crack it, but you won't know the best way of how to do it.
Quite a bit slower, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a lot slower. You'll want to go to the guild, talk to the guild master, talk to the safecracking tutor, and he'll sort of teach you the best way of doing it. And he'll also give you like a stethoscope. Stethoscope?
Stethoscope, yep, that's it.
And send you out and talk to you about doing it. So yeah, safecracking in this update is the idea that we've put safes around the world. We split them up quite nicely so that, it's, as a player, you're sort of like, if you're going to train on safes, the idea is that you're sort of running around an area. You've got like your sort of route in which you're going on like
Gotcha, what, like farming? In a sense?
Like farming? I guess.
I mean, people do have their routes, and obviously sometimes it's
It's like farming in the sense that you'd have a route, but it's not like you're only going to crack safes once every 16 hours.
So it's,
You could sort of do a lap and then do a lap again. It's sort of like that.
Refresh.
They refresh, yeah.
Right.
It's only like 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the safe, of how long before the I want to say idiots come back and fill up their safes again with loot. But yeah.
It's the first thing you do. It's like, oh, my safe's empty.
I'll fill it back up again.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So why is this good for thieving? So, I mean, you've talked about the routes. You've talked about.
So it fits. So the aim was it fits in sort of this gap whereby when I talk about thieving or think about thieving, we have a few things. We've got, pyramid plunder, we've got sort of Menethos pickpocketing, Ark pickpocketing, dwarf traders, and sort of Elf City pickpocketing. There's a lot of pickpocketing in there. I don't know why we've always done pickpocketing updates.
Yep.
Yeah. So we added safe sort of in a bracket whereby it sort of adds on to the skill diversity that we'll talk about later on, but we wanted to introduce sort of a new way you could train thieving, and this focuses a lot on like a route, so like moving around. There's a lot of movement involved in this. So when you actually are cracking a safe, it's lucrative in itself, but you want to find the best route, or as you level up, you'll unlock other safes. So you sort of change your route up as you level up, and at the highest tier, Mod Shogun's sort of gone for this, like there is no small route you can make. He sort of spread the best safes across the whole of
it's kind of a worldwide.
Yeah, so it's like if you want to go, to the deep wilderness to crack the Rogue's Den safe, like it's off route. Like you really have to go out of your way to do that.
I see. So if you want to go to the wilderness, obviously the risk involved in that will be greater XP. Is it just XP?
Sure. I imagine it would be greater XP and loot. I'm not sure entirely like how much greater it is, but it's one of the highest tier of safes. Though.
Yeah, and I know that some of the higher level safes and things like Zemmer Eagle's Fortress.
Yep.
I don't want to obviously give away too many, but
in these. Them where they are.
I know. I'm sorry.
I forgot about that.
There you go. That's the one hint we'll ever do. I told you we'd give away things that we're not meant to.
That's supposed to be a secret. That's fine.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
So
this is why he's off today. You see, this is his problem. It's his problem.
Give away all the secrets. Right. Anyway. If you want to know where all the safes are, tweet me out now. But yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's just supposed to fill a gap in thieving and sort of give you that choice, like it's a bit more interactive than regular what we currently have with pickpocketing, whether it's master farm. You sort of stay in one place. There's a lot more movement, so your inventory will. I think a good way to think about it is, like you said, farm run, or maybe even clue scrolls. Like people have their own presets for clue scrolls with certain teleports. And I think Mod Day said that's how he saw safe cracking. You sort of, depending on what level you are, you build your inventory so that you've got your best teleports to get around between the safes. So it's a lot like that.
I think one of the things, obviously we've both played it quite a bit. Mm-hmm. It's kind of odd being the host when you know a lot about the content. But what I liked about it was how heavily I wanted to optimize, because each safe has different number of clicks to open it, has different amount of XP that comes from it. Located in places that we're not going to talk about to some degree. And so there's quite a lot of, I can imagine day one people trying to find safes, trying to work out their best routes, optimizing for themselves. There'll be people arguing over which is the best route.
Yep.
And I really like that. I think that's very RuneScape.
Yeah.
I
imagine
there's no obvious way of doing it.
Yeah, I imagine within a couple of hours or so, there'll be at least someone on Reddit for different tier brackets. They'll sort of point out the best safes because, as I said, a safe only has 5 minutes before you could maybe reloot it. But there could be 20 safes in this whole area. Yeah. And depending on how long you spend at each safe, you may not do half of those, but it really depends on how you want to work your route in.
Gotcha.
But we should see a variety.
So there's quite a few questions about another hero item, as if we're just dropping them in everything.
So the answer to that is there is not a hero item.
Is that with a wink? Is that little?
No. There is no hero item.
Oh, okay, all right.
Since you mentioned hero items, it's probably just worth Mod Timbo and I don't even know if you know this, Mod Timbo and I had a discussion last week about hero items as a whole. Because I think Timbo posted when Tavia's Rod went out that it happened to be a week after Orlando Smith's hat. That was just a coincidence in the sense that we had two big updates next to each other. Yeah. But we aren't planning to sort of just throw them out all the time. We want to do them as and when we feel they're right. And
is it mostly going to be like big updates? So could you imagine, say, player and farm dropping one?
It could be a big update. It could be a small. There isn't. Okay. I think the only guidelines we sort of have in mind are, they don't all have to be tradable as well. We could make untradable hero items that you have to earn. There is a path you have to go on to earn it. Because right now the current 3 we have, they're all tradable and they're all really rare RNG drops. Yeah. But that's not to say all hero items will be.
Gotcha. So is it kind of the similar thing to we have problems with titles and pets?
Yeah.
Both of those are things that we give for achievements.
Yep.
But if you do them too often or too frequently, then they lose that luster a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that so? You're trying to preserve it a bit? Or?
We want to preserve it for that, and mainly just because I think that we don't need one all the time. Yeah, I guess it's just a preserving thing. The ones we came up with, like Orlando's and Tavia's Rod, they were all to be honest, I think when my team did Tavia's Rod, we didn't know they were doing Orlando's hat. Yeah. That was just we just weren't aware at the time.
So who's Tavia?
Yeah. I can't tell you about Tavia.
Oh, okay, all right.
There is some information about her in game, which took a while for people to find because
Yeah.
everyone that went to the island, they picked up the rod and then
I'm
left.
just like, oh my God.
They
Oh
just
God.
left, and there were some books, and I remember people constantly like asking me, they're like, "Can you let us know like who's got a map so we can tell them to go and read
So
the
when you
books?"
go there, can you not go back?
No.
Oh, right, so people
Yeah.
have got it and not, right, okay,
Yeah.
not explored. Oh, Dave, do you have a phone in your pocket? No, not at all. All right, so there's so many questions coming from the chat, so I think it's really kind of mysterious about what it is. Sorry about the noise in my pocket.
It might not be the phone, but it might
Yeah. How viable will safecracking be compared to other current training methods? So you say from 62 up to 99, it's going up against a lot of stuff.
So is 62 to 95 is the level requirement?
Yeah. I mean, are people still going to be doing Elf City?
Yeah, I think that this comes back to skill diversity. At 95 or 99, let's say you're doing the high level safes, there's a lot more interaction going on, a lot more planning, a lot more sort of lean forward gameplay compared to what Elf City pickpocketing is right now. I believe the XP rates will be greater, but
the intensity.
the intensity is higher.
Yeah.
It's also just a good comparison because we have dwarf traders as well, which they're intense in the sense that you're clicking on the same spot a lot, but they aren't intense in sort of, you don't have to look at the screen if you wanted to click on the same spot. It's sort of mixing
that
it
weird
up.
spot between.
Yeah, we're just trying to mix it up and make it so that it is a viable method if you want to put that effort in. You can make some GP
out, learn
from
about
it.
it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a, like, to be honest, safecracking is kind of both. Like, you can get XP and GP from it, depending on how you want to run it. Because it's got a reward shop.
It's starting to make me think of beacons. Is beacons another good comparison? Better than beacons, obviously.
It's way better than beacons, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a similar thing in that you could go around, you're going to specific locations constantly. I haven't done beacons in God knows how long.
I only do them for challenges. That probably makes me a bit of a noob. There's a lot of questions about kind of the AFK element of it. Like, is it AFK?
Yeah, so in the BTS, not BTS, month ahead.
Yeah.
I think we showed sort of a player sort of cracking a safe. It is AFK in the sense of like cracking a safe, but we've added sort of extra elements of gameplay whereby as you're cracking it, there's sort of an indication to tell you when you're on the right sort of...
It reminds me of, sorry, using other games, like Gears of War Active Reload, that idea.
Oh yeah, you press it on the right.
Yeah, pressing at the right point and you get a greater benefit.
Yeah.
So something similar to that,
Yeah, exactly. So like as you're turning the safe, the dial, when it sort of clicks in place, there'll be a note, like a visual indication and an audio that if you click on the safe again, you'll crack that lock 100% of the time. If you don't and you just want to relax in AFK, there'll be a chance of cracking it. Otherwise, it'll sort of loop around and keep trying. So we've added sort of like, what we're trying to do is like add an optional gameplay. Like you could do either or, but if you put that extra effort in, you will.
And are there D&Ds? How do you want to answer that? Sorry, I threw that one in myself just to load it.
That's an interesting question. There is maybe not. I don't know.
We're seeing basically.
Yeah, we're talking about it. So I mean, that's safe to say. Like, safecracking isn't the first update of this month.
Yeah.
There's still like we're still looking at like ways in which we can add a bit more like D&D gameplay to it, so like whether or not something happens at certain safes, that sort of thing. We are talking about it, today.
So safecracking's not the next game update?
No.
Does that mean Rebuild Edgeville is?
No. There's other updates this month.
Okay, all right, we'll get there. All right. New rewards, are there new things obtainable from safecracking?
Yes.
This is why I think it's also diverse, because it plugs into other skilling.
Yes.
Sorry, other thieving in particular.
So I can only remember two off the top of my head, other than like being able to put a stethoscope on your toolbar and stuff. There's the ability to reset cooldowns on Elf City pickpocketing. So like reset the camp. So it's like giving them a bit of money to forget that you've been stealing their money.
I need to talk to him about theme. Like,
I
I'm
don't know
really
how it
interested.
works.
Like,
but yeah,
or else this stupid? Who knows?
There's also, I believe there's something that either stops you getting stunned for a certain amount of time or makes stuns significantly less.
Yeah.
When Mod Shogun explained it to me, it's like useful at dwarf traders, which stun you quite frequently, but you can sort of like either dodge that stun or reduce that stun.
Yeah, and these are both consumables, aren't they?
Yeah, consumable items.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll probably stock up after you've done
so when
safecracking, which is already worth doing anyway.
Yeah.
So these are kind of little additional benefits.
So that's the thing I didn't even mention is when you are cracking safe, you'll sort of like fill up a bag full of loot and you take it back to a Thieves Guild and you fence it off.
Fence it for GP.
Give it to them and they'll give you sort of points, gold, a variety of stuff, and you can use those points in Dodgy Derek's something deals shop. That's
I think Mod Shogun was particularly happy with
I think he already
with his naming.
I think
Yeah, he
Dodgy
does.
Derek already exists.
Cash in for hanky points, isn't he? He already
Yeah,
does
yeah,
it for the other
that guy.
hankies. Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, Dodgy
I'm not going
Derek.
to give him any credit.
He's your guy for that.
Are there any perma unlocks or achievements? I guess there's also a comp question there too.
There aren't currently achievements in the test version of Safecracking right now, but that is something we've been talking about. We want to...
I know what I'd love. Like if we're going to be scattering safes around the world, and there are a finite number of them, it feels like exploration-wise, there should be one finite.
Cracking them all.
Yeah, exactly. Got to crack them all.
Yeah, we want to look at doing that more with skills anyway. Deep sea, and I think in achievements list right now, we only have fishing and divination. They're the only two categories. We want to add more. Safecracking is sort of an idea, like you said. We will probably do some achievements like crack all safes, or whether or not it's crack all the elusive safes, the ones that are in the very obscure locations.
Yeah, it's a tough one because things like the Ark has taught us like to be wary of things like long-term shop unlocks.
Yeah.
So it could be like stethoscope, put it on your tool belt. But yeah, we've got to manage that right.
Oh, that reminds me actually. Tool belt is probably a... Is there a tool belt rec? I feel like tool belt may be a comp or trim.
Yes,
rec.
it is.
If it is, then this is a rec as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but yeah.
Oh, there we go. So it already is.
Yeah.
Thanks to... I'm forgetting the name of it. Forgot the name of the tool achievement. Anyway. Oh my gosh, like questions are appearing from everywhere. What are you doing, my John? All right, let's do them quick though.
Sure.
Will the soul in a box have any effect on safecracking?
No.
And is there a pet chance on safecracking?
Yes.
Good. All right, so line firemaking.
Sure.
Probably the most surprising thing on the month
it's a
ahead.
bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of had a strange story, isn't it? Because it started off as Book of Char improvements.
Well,
Do you want to take
there
us
is
through
a
it?
pre-story to that, but yeah. So I think,
I want to know the pre-story.
I mean, just the random things I get up to when just making random bits of content, or like there's a lot of ideas we have for content that we don't use, and something that Modiago came up with randomly. He was like, I just wish I could light fires really fast. It was a really basic thing. So I made that work like quickly, prototyped it, just lighting lines. And then I was like, firemaking's an interesting skill because it's one of the things that Mod Timbo mentioned in our 5-year plan, that it doesn't really have much to it. So we wanted to find a way to sort of like add new things to it. So I looked at
diversity again. Take it. Right.
And I looked at what firemaking already has, and it has Char's training.
And then we looked at the numbers, and not many people do that.
Take part in Char's training. It is currently a weekly, so there was just a bunch of ideas here that we sort of grouped up into just one firemaking update. But we've called it sort of line firemaking as a whole because, if you've played RuneScape, 10 years ago or so, you would have seen people lighting lines of fires all the way through Varrock and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can talk about the update.
Go for it.
Sure. So a couple of things. Where to start? So Char's a good thing because we didn't mention it much in the month ahead. But so Char's training is no longer a weekly event.
Yep.
We've just stripped that away and turned it into just an activity you can take part in.
Yep. Nice bonus of non-daily scape, which is nice.
Just remove that. So it used to be 10 minutes long. We reduced it down to 5 minutes. So because you can do multiple sessions now, it's just shorter. So obviously XP rates have been adjusted, etc. But I also made it a lot more, easier to do now.
Frictionless. It doesn't feel as infuriating.
Yeah, like lighting fires, and they used to be really slow.
When you always moved to the west or something like that.
Yeah, you had to position yourself because you always walked. So I removed all of that, so it's now a lot faster. So, I mean, to be honest, I could get a video, but you essentially, you light a fire, you move, you can do it really fast. Now you sort of run around and you can do it.
I've seen the video you've put on Twitter of,
did you
have your happy anim on or something like that?
Oh yeah, my happy walk. But yeah, so Char's is a lot cleaner, a lot easier to do. You can now surge in the rooms because we've now made it so that, it's generally faster. So we want you to feel like you can optimize your path, and it's sort of a training method. So what this does is Char's training is a viable training method for firemaking that doesn't cost money. It's got a high entry requirement because you need 91 firemaking.
And Firemaker's Curse.
Yeah. But at this point, it's now free. You don't have to use anything.
It's almost if you have a balancing, it's not really a triangle because there's quite a few points on it now.
Yeah.
But it's going for the low entry cost, as in the cost of the resources. There are none, but it's intensity, which gives you better XP.
Yeah, so its intensity is high, as you'd expect. Its XP is good. It's not as good as what our best XP currently is, which is Jadinko Lair.
Yeah.
But it's got the added element, which I like to compare this to sort of Pyramid Plunder. Like Pyramid Plunder is 5 minutes of running through, breaking urns, but you have a chance to get a scepter.
Right.
This is similar. It's 5 minutes of making symbols, and the more symbols you make sort of showing off to Char, the better chance you have of receiving this reward, which is like a pitch can you can take outside.
Yeah.
So whilst you're getting good XP...
Hero item pitch can?
No, just normal pitch can. no hero items here. But yeah, just as a... So just as a training method, it's good XP,
Yeah.
but you can also, on the off chance, earn an item that's worth a little bit of money. So it's not like a core, I'm going to go out my way to make money, but it's sort of what Pyramid Plunder is,
Yeah.
you earn money on the side.
We're hoping it's a bit of a windfall, isn't it? You know, when a skiller gets it, because obviously there's not as many options for getting money as combat.
Yeah, so you could viably train to 99 from 91 and make a bit of money here if you wanted, which isn't a current thing in firemaking. That being said, so you have a pitch can. This pitch can now be used to fire make lines really fast, which I have a video of on my Twitter, JagXRyan, if you wanted to see. But you ultimately can just light them super fast in a line. And that
The idea being that you just kind of...
I mean, you just
just
cover the
pouring out
logs
this
in
pitch
it,
can and lighting it at the same time, which to me sounds foolhardy. Like, there's a health risk there.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, so...
And the drop chance of it? Just got that question come through from the chat.
Not saying the drop chance.
It's quite rare, isn't it? It's pretty rare.
It's not really, actually. It's more like, so the amount of symbols you do, the more symbols you do in sort of a 5-minute session, the better chance you have of getting the drop.
Yeah.
So some of the symbols, if anyone's done it already, will know like the spiral is the best symbol for XP, but you can't do as many spirals as you can do, say, crosses. And crosses, you can do more. So like there's this sort of like, if you want to try and get a better chance, you can try and do the same sort of how many crosses.
I'll be brutal. I honestly, not since the quest came out, not because I was design review on it with Modana, but like I haven't done it since. So it's good to have it, you know, as a potential option.
Just something worth mentioning is the pitch can has a use in not just line firemaking, but bonfires as well. So the pitch can has a certain amount of charges. You can use them to light logs in a line really fast. Every log you use while having the pitch can on you is a charge.
Right.
It sits in your inventory, so you
How
don't...
do you replenish?
So, good question.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Skipping ahead.
Good question. So once it's tradable when it's fully charged. It's tradable when it's empty. When it's in its use state, it's not, but you could empty it if you want to trade it on, like the empty can. But players can take the empty cans back to Char's training pit and sort of, every time you complete a symbol, it'll start filling up the charge.
Gotcha.
She sort of allows you to refill it.
Yep.
So, you know, if you're a sort of player that wants to train without spending money, you could take a load of empty cans to the event, to the activity, train your firemaking in here and make a bit of gold on the side because you'll be filling up cans that you can sell on.
And does it degrade? Well, I think because we said charges then.
Yeah, it has charges.
So pretty much covered.
And a charge is used per log. But in bonfires...
Ooh, can you augment it?
No, because it's an inventory icon. Inventory object. It just sits in your inventory and it passively uses itself. But you can still have your tinderbox equipped.
Any plans for a tool belt?
No, because it's tradable. It's a tradable object and it's degradable and stuff.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just taking for chat. I'm kind of roasting you on this. Are you guys doing something with firelighters?
No. No, nothing with firelighters.
I've heard that a couple of times. I think Clue Scrolls have just highlighted it again, haven't they?
Oh yeah, because of the
obviously a lot of people are getting them. And will there be a pet chance on charge training? Again from the chat.
Yes. So in the actual training activity, when you light individual fires, you get a tiny bit of XP. That does have a chance of pet, strange rocks, the regular stuff. But when you complete a symbol, you get like quite a nice chunk of XP. That one doesn't have a chance of pet.
Okay.
But it works with all your regular boosts, like wearing flame gloves and ring and stuff.
All right. One thing we haven't mentioned about the update is obviously we talked about all the post-char stuff, all the firemaking stuff, but it's not only after Firemaker's Curse, am I right?
Oh, right, yeah, sorry. Forgot a whole bit. So yeah, at level 70 firemaking in the skill, you just generically, you'll now be able to light fires faster.
It'll be a new milestone for the skill.
Yeah, it's just a milestone for the skill.
So it's similar to how like Agility has these kind of unlocks where you get better at certain levels.
Yeah, or Hunter, you can now lay more traps. It's that sort of idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll be able to light logs faster at 70, and then if you use the pitch can, it's super fast. Using a pitch can for bonfires makes you throw logs on faster. It's only slightly faster. It's not stupidly fast as the lighting in a line, but it's slightly faster. So there is multiple use cases, but ultimately, like the aim here is to give the player a choice in how they want to train firemaking. Do they want to spend a lot of money, spend no money? You know, there's a whole variety of ways you can do this now.
So I remember when we were chatting, it was a case of we initially just had the Book of Char stuff. Sorry, not the Book of Char, the Char stuff. And we thought that actually there is real diversity that we could bring to the whole of the skill that's not just locked behind a quest,
Behind a quest, yeah.
and high levels. So we want to bring that down a little bit. All right. What about the warming flames pet you get from char training? Is that still available?
It's still the same as before. I can't remember the exact way you get it, but I remember seeing it in code, and I haven't changed anything.
Okay, good. All right, there's lots of extra questions from chat, so we will get to your 5-year plan for skilling. We've got time, don't worry.
Sure.
I'm just going to rattle through. Any update on the ninja fix and the ninja teasers? Mix potion left click changed. A mod posted that the job was done. Do you know anything about that?
Good question. Mix potion left click change. It sounds like a ninja job. If it was on the ninja thread, I imagine that mod Edge posted it.
Yeah.
I can ask him where it's at, but
we'll get him to answer that.
Ninja have got a whole load of they're constantly working on what's the most desirable fix right now, and then building up their list to yesterday's update.
Yeah.
What day is it today? Is it Tuesday? Yeah, today's update.
We've just come back to work. It's so confusing.
Yeah, we had a whole load
Bank
of
holidays
today. So they. It's probably somewhere, maybe awaiting testing. I'll poke mod Edge.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm not going to go through all of these because there's quite a few that we can't answer.
Yeah.
We are but 2 people who haven't.
Yeah, where is everyone?
I know. What happened to Minigame Hub, Events Calendar, and Brimhaven Agility Update? Those were all mentioned in the year ahead. Mm-hmm. So out of those, Events Calendar is very much something. I think it's just awaiting testing.
Moderator is working on that very shortly after the thing he's currently working on.
Right. Okay. So that's very much active. We're going to be looking at that. Minigame Hub and Brimhaven Agility Update. We aren't actively working on at the moment. It's still on our backlog. We still want to do it for this year. Minigame Hub became something very lavish and big in the concept art. So we're just wondering what to do with that, whether or not to have it that lavish. And Brimhaven Agility is just requiring the developer who first put it forward. We'd really like them to work on that. Any chance we could have mini quests as a list?
Probably a question.
I love that.
I mean,
maybe attach the achievement.
Yeah.
Sorry, the rec.
I mean, do they mean as in in the quest book?
Yeah, one of the problems
I think Old School have this actually.
It's tough because obviously for me they were first put in to be hidden story content. Mm-hmm. So if you put it on an interface, then it's no longer hidden. Is that a problem? Do we mind if it's been in there so long this?
I mean, we made them Master Quest or Comp. They have a section in achievements which specifically say do them.
Can you check them off individually in that?
Yeah, they're under individual achievements.
I'd be interested to know why or if that's not enough.
This is a question for Mod Stu, really. He's been looking a lot at quest stuff.
Is there an update on clan avatars? Yeah, still waiting for testing. We'll try to get that out soon. Will there still be a house rework, construction player-owned house rework? Not on the cards at the moment. We didn't put it in the survey because we have polled it several times, so we know there's appreciation for it. I think just putting things like that, rite of passage, etc., in multiple times is only going to annoy people and probably fatigue people, so they don't want it anymore. So it's on our backlog. It's just whether or not, and we know the appreciation for it. Jagex or when? I'm sure there's something booting up right now. I'm sure Jagex has just kicked up. All right, 5-year plan for skilling. Okay.
Sure.
Ready to...
You want to hit me with questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go for it.
So why are we looking at 5-year plans, 3-year plans for individual pieces of content? Why look that far ahead? Is it just going to change?
Well, I think that to successfully release the sort of content we want to do, to successfully do it, you need to plan that far ahead. You need to know what the ideal, what RuneScape will look like in 3 years' time, how we want it to fit, so that we can work backwards and sort of fill the gaps and work out what we want to do. Why so far ahead? I think 5 years, 3 years. I think anything where you say at least 2 years on is a good amount for me, at least, to work out where we want to be in 2 years' time.
It's kind of aspirational, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you say 5 years, it's you're not going to get there immediately. But that makes us feel think bigger, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, for skills, I think in our 5-year plan, we spoke about the normal stuff, diversity, new skill, and reworks, and we couldn't do a new skill and skill reworks in a year. That's definitely a multiple-year plan.
Yeah. So deep sea fishing, is that a good example of what you want from the 5-year skilling plan?
I'd hope so. It's got some things. So to do it, explain it really quickly, something we try to do with deep sea fishing is try a lot of things. I used this pun before, and I don't mean to use it again, but to test the waters with what what people enjoy and what people don't like. So we tried a lot of things, adding encounters to a skill. Something that I feel really strongly about is I don't like the idea that, say you're training Slayer, and
Yeah.
then we suddenly take you away to go and do sinkholes or Guthix cache or something. It's a weird sort of thing to take you away from. Whereas for deep sea fishing, it's while fishing, we take you away from fishing
in the environment
to go and do something else
yeah.
to fishing.
So it still takes you away from what you were doing. You're not at the same spot
No,
fishing, but
it's very much involved in what you're doing. So we sort of give you boosts for fishing, so you go back to fishing. It's very sort of enclosed.
yeah.
But yeah, we tried a lot of things like the events. We tried, making it very obvious. If you were to look back at the screen, oh look, the screen's dark, so there's clearly something happening.
Yeah.
Just tried a lot of like little things to make it feel more enjoyable. That if you're going to have a relaxed gameplay, sort of chill AFK, you can still change it up every now and then and get a bit more involved for a couple of minutes. We added different mechanics to the way you fished there. We added like what I would call ZMI fishing, but it's called swarm fishing. Just the idea that you could get a whole load of random fish. To be honest, like deep sea really attacked various aspects we could tackle with any skill.
So it's you testing out a lot of things.
Yeah, testing.
Is there anything that didn't work, do you think? So I saw there was a poll on the front page of RuneScape.
Oh,
The
did that
website.
go up? Sure,
Yeah,
it
it's
was
gone
gonna
up.
put I didn't
Yeah,
see
it's
that.
gone up. So, like, for example, so the top thing that people like from deep sea fishing are the events. Then it goes into sailfish, I think.
I haven't seen this. John, do you have this
I'm going to go see if I can find it.
Thanks.
Okay.
website poll for deep sea?
But I remember bottom was magical fishing spots, and also quite close to the bottom was minnows and
Frenzy?
flying fish.
Frenzy.
Frenzy, yeah.
That makes sense.
So is that a surprise? Have you learned from that, do you think? Or-
I think that magical fishing spots, they're sort of the ability that you can throw bait at. And
is it that people don't understand what that is?
No.
Or are they hidden?
I
Or-
think it's more, it doesn't appeal to everyone, which
Yeah.
is fine. Like, we're not trying to make content that appeals to everyone all the time.
Yeah.
Because you'll be, as a player, like, what the hell am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
But I think it's one of the, it was an added extra. Like, if you want to be able to catch sea turtles, manta rays, and great sharks, well, you can now.
Yeah. Okay. Say, for example, you could do it for wood cutting. The ability to configure what tree. In fact, farming patch is effectively me being able to configure what my tree is in any given location.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's not something that's worked?
I think that in farming's case that you just mentioned,
Yeah.
you'd grow a tree you can already cut elsewhere.
Yeah.
What we try to do with magical is give you the ability to fish something you cannot fish elsewhere.
Right. Okay.
I think it's probably just low because, to be honest, like I wouldn't do it because I'd rather go do sailfish. Like once you surpass that level, you may not want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
That could be why it's low. I don't know what the poll was. It could have been ordering of like what your favorite thing was, and it's probably low because every other things are, everyone could get involved in encounters.
I've got the poll here if you want.
Sure, feel free to share. I'll have a look. So yeah, random encounters is great. Like, to be honest, that's the fact that that's number one is probably the best thing for me because I really wanted, with the mini distractions and the big encounters, that's what I really wanted people to enjoy.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely something we could do more with. Like if you're cutting a tree, who knows what could happen near you, or just think it's about making you feel like the world is alive and you're getting involved with it.
I mean, you can sit here like as developers thinking like, well, this is going to be something that a player sees once a week, maybe even more infrequently than that. Like, how can I justify working on that as opposed to something that players going to play all the time? But it just shows that even the prospect of something coming up like that is great.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we tried to do a lot of like clever things with the encounters of like theming them so that the whale does something specific. And we use the whale to have we use jellyfish to do something specific, but we have different types of jellyfish, like whether he invades or she invades with like 5 jellyfish at once or 10. Like we we added a variety to just jellyfish. So yeah, I think there's a lot you can do with these sorts of things.
One of the things that I imagine is quite unusual is that why did we choose fishing for the first test? So fishing, there's a lot of people who are at 99. Fishing's actually quite full. There's a lot of reward in it. So what made you pick it?
Do you want the honest answer?
You really like fish?
No, I mean, the honest answer was what I showed at RuneFest, which I called intensive fishing, was me in a boat fishing. I think one tap, I was like thinking about how fishing has never changed. It's just a fishing spot that moves.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And I was like, well, what if you're not spending time on a fishing spot, you're spending time on multiple fishing spots? So I just quickly mocked up the idea that you could catch many fish, and which is what Fishing Frenzy is now. And then we got concept for it for RuneFest, and then we said we're going to do big deep sea fishing update. So like the deep sea fishing, like when we named it that gave a lot more like, oh, well, it'd be cool to see like big sea creatures, and that's sort of how that project escalated into that. I think that it just happened to be the first skill update since, and at least when I'm working on skill updates, I like to try and aspire to do new things.
Yeah.
So.
I think a couple of things for me, like just on top of that, was a lot of people train fishing beyond 99 because it's,
Invention.
it's beneficial. So like, yeah. So it's not one of those skills that people tend to stop at 99, your divinations, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure, actually, yeah. You're right.
So it can go on beyond that. And also, it's actually really good to test it on something that people play, weirdly enough. Like if you're going to test something out and you're going to drop it into a less done skill, then you're adding in additional factors. Like, let's do it in farming. Not as many people do farming.
It's hard to see if it works.
Yeah, exactly. Are people not doing it because they don't like farming, or are they not doing it because of what we're doing with diversity and stuff? So there were some good reasons for it. All right. What about medium intensity activities? One which are a bit AFK but require some attention. I'm guessing that's coming from people reacting to deep sea fishing. Maybe they go either end.
Yeah. So I think if we took two things from deep sea as an example that you could relate to, is like fishing frenzy is the most intense we'd probably ever make anything.
Yeah.
Where like you can't look away. Since the release, we updated it a little to make it less punishing. But if you take sailfish as an example, that's quite relaxed fishing, but you can sort of increase your catch rate if you follow the faster spot, which moves a little more. That's sort of in the realms of where I'd say it's like medium intensity. It's still more on the lean back because you're not really doing much. You're just paying a little bit more attention. But there's room for, between high intensity and low, there's so much room in between for all the skills, to be honest.
Yeah, because it's not only kind of how many clicks as well.
Yeah.
There's also, we could do things like strategies, almost puzzles, or optimizations that players can make while they're training.
Yeah, when we see...
I mean, Safecracking has got a little bit of that.
Yeah, just to be honest, you only have to click an extra one time.
Oh yeah, true.
But
maybe it's not the best example.
No, it's good because you have to click once more, but the intensity is from paying attention.
Yeah.
Whereas frenzy, the intensity is more from being ready to click all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think when we say intense, it's not the best word. I think we just want to try and diversify a skill so that you feel like you could, at any given point, feel like you're just going to relax for a bit.
Yeah. So it's a really good question here, actually, which was you can imagine what it's like for a gathering skill. So you can have a high intensity wood cutting. You can have a low intensity wood cutting. I can imagine that.
Yep.
But what does it mean for things like, I don't know, agility, slayer, dungeoneering? Like, how do you get diversity in those?
Yeah. Good question. I didn't think about this one. So I think agility so dungeoneering is only in itself one thing right now. Like, we haven't ever changed the core identity of dungeoneering. If you take agility, originally it was courses. With Elf City, we got Serenity Posts, which is a bit more like lean back.
Yeah.
And even the course itself, Heffin Agility course, is definitely a nicer agility course to others. Like, it's very you don't have to turn.
Doesn't have as much love for it, but it has got those not AFK elements. It's like it allows you to switch off at certain points.
Yeah. I think that what agility has done so far is add more courses. But that's not to say we couldn't do something completely different to diversify agility.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to do anything with courses anymore. I think that...
Do you always try to maintain an identity for a skill? Like, is there... So you could say, like Serenity Posts, like, you can just put that into a skill and then suddenly people start... Like, we found that with RuneSpan. Like, rune crafting became RuneSpan rather than people going to rune altars. Is that something you try to protect against?
Yeah, I think that... Yes, for sure. We don't want to change the identity of a skill, but I think we plan to add more branches to a skill.
Yeah.
So runecrafting doesn't just have to be about creating runes. Like, RuneSpan is an example where you're creating, you're sort of siphoning, you're creating runes in a different way. Like, it's not the traditional run to altar, run back. I think what
it still felt a bit runecrafty.
Yeah, I think what RuneSpan did when it took the identity was because it just outright, outdid what normal runecrafting was. There was just no reason to think about that anymore. What we'd rather do is bring them up, have many things on the same level, so you sort of have a choice about what you want to do.
So we're going over lots of questions on diversity. It's not just diversity, is it? Do you want to cover some of the other things? I'm very aware that we're getting quite late in time. So I want to make sure that we cover a lot of the things that are in the skinning plan.
God, what is in the skinning plan?
So we talked about wow moments.
So something that combat has a lot of is bosses or Slayer. You get that drop, rare items. Hazelmere is now the biggest wow moment in combat. Skilling doesn't have much of that. The only sort of mini wow moments we've had in the past are birds' nests. And those
geodes or
yeah,
gems or whatever.
Those things are great, but we need like the next tier and the next tier, potentially, higher tiers. Like just off the top of my head, like this isn't an idea, but wouldn't it be cool if you're woodcutting and suddenly you get something and then your friends know about it nearby? It's that sort of like making you feel really like I don't know what the word is, but yeah, like it's a wow moment. It makes you want
to grab
really
other people. You want to take a screenshot of it.
Yeah, we tried to do that with Deep Sea a little. We added some items that they're not wow moments. They're sort of that next tier above Bird's Nest where they're nice things to get hold of, but they're nothing
not quite hero item
substantial.
level.
No.
Right.
Currently, there is like in Deep Sea you can get a bunch of items, but you can also get a map. The map is pretty good on its own. It's not a big wow moment, but if you were to ever get the special map, then it's a wow moment. But yeah, wow moments and skills is a big thing. Just making it feel like you as a player, you while training a skill, things happen and you can be surprised about it.
Yeah.
Because right now you don't really get that surprise when woodcutting, as an example.
Yeah. Does that also come with do you want skilling to be like GP generating? Do you want it to be like?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's
bring it up in line with combat, or what are you doing to those kind of two stacks?
So one of the things we obviously want to do is remove the seeds, herbs, those sort of like skilling drops from combat drop tables, because
You mean remove or replace?
Well, remove and replace.
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing.
okay.
It's more the concept. Yeah, like if you were to cut willow magic logs for an hour, you should be able to earn more than you would from killing a boss and getting magic logs as a drop. Whereas right now that's not always the case, which means that skilling is like it doesn't have its value as much as it should. We want to bring that back. We want to make skills make money again. Making as much money as bosses isn't like something
that's just not viable, surely.
It's not something that is an immediate concern. Like for me, as personally, like I would like to make skills make money first, not try and make them make as much money as bossing, because it's right now bosses makes a lot of money. Like there is a reason why as well.
Is that because of the risk?
There's a lot of things, risk, time investment into the skill and gear, and but that's not to say like we want to make skills, one, make money, and two, if we can find the right place to make them make a lot of money for a lot of effort and a lot of sort of prep and stuff, we will.
Yeah.
But right now we're just trying to bring them up.
Okay. What's on your sights? As in, what do you want to do next?
Oh God.
This could be a new skill for diversity. This could be something else on your plan.
I mean, what do I want? I want to make a new skill, but
Yeah.
if I wasn't like, I'd like to make a new skill. I'd like to just make a lot of skills more diverse. I think that's just mainly because I, as a player, at least when I've played RuneScape, like before I log in, I know what I'm going to do. And if I know I'm going to woodcut, as an example, I already know specifically what I'm going to do, and there's nothing in that breaks it up.
Yeah.
I'd like to be woodcutting and something happens around me, or suddenly someone's calling me and I need to just stop playing RuneScape, but I still want to don't want to lose out my XP, so I want to go away and go do something AFK, and like I just want to make it feel like you have a choice. I think.
So if I'm a player who already has the kind of diversity and training method for my given skill that I want, then diversity is not going to interest me. Is there anything else in the skilling plan that makes me excited as a skiller of
Yeah, so like as you mentioned, the money thing. Like we want to make skills make money. We want to make skills
you talked about milestones before.
Yeah. So we want to make skills feel like when you reach a certain, like you're aiming towards a certain point in a skill, whereas you're going to reap the rewards for that, and sort of, they don't all have to. I think Overloads is an example where Herblaw's biggest milestone is probably Extremes and Overloads. Progressively though, getting there, like unlocking supers, etc., is useful, but you can buy them. Like there is an element of untradeable high milestones that have a lot of value. Like untradeable milestones are really like key. They do a lot for like you've actually had to earn the right to do that. You can't just log in and buy Overloads, which is a really good thing with Overloads. Something we want to do more of. Doesn't mean we want to make every milestone untradeable. That's not how we want to do it. But yeah, milestones is probably one of the biggest things as well.
Okay.
There are a lot of skills that don't have that many.
There's better ways to achieve as a player in skilling.
Yeah,
as well.
but better way to just feel like that 99 isn't the only milestone. Like, there are a lot of skills where 99, firemaking is an example, but what do I do with firemaking other than get my 99?
I was really excited to unlock Tears of Gothics, but that's all
is
you've
that
got.
A requirement for it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it is. Bullseye Lantern. Yeah.
But yeah, milestones is the big thing. Obviously, in the 5-year plan, we spoke about reworks to skills. We're obviously doing M&S right now, mining and smithing. And I think I may have sort of a question on there, so I'll just cover it unless you want.
Yeah, go for it.
But something like, I think it mentioned about skills like construction. Right now, the only way of training construction is very much a cost, build, remove. Like construction, if you ever talk to anyone about how do you train it, they will tell you to build something and remove it. That's what it is. Adding more to that, not in terms of diversifying it, but just allowing another path. So like whether leveling construction isn't just about building and removing furniture. It's a very weird thing. I do wonder, like when construction was released, how we as a team thought players were going to train it, whether or not they were going to build and remove their own furniture. But yeah, I think that like construction is an interesting skill that it doesn't need to be reworked as an example, but like it could do with another sort of
another track or whatever
another
you want to
track
call it.
is a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So is it fair, I mean, it's fair to say that Jagex Ryan, Twitter,
Yeah, sure.
like chat to you about kind of the 5-year skilling plan.
Yeah,
as well as Timbo.
Yeah, Jagex, Timber. There's a whole like I should probably post about the skilling council at some point. But there's a whole load of us that are just interested in making skills, the best they can be, like tackling skills one at a time or just finding gaps. But yeah, any ideas, throw them at me, basically.
And what I love most, I think, is that we're making skill content again. It's easy to go back like a year ago, and for whatever reason, skilling content wasn't being made. I think there was a feeling that you couldn't just release something like Safecracking and for it to be an update, that it had to be, deep sea fishing sized. And it's good that that's changing. Is that conscious?
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, we're doing that purposely. Like, I mean, you said previous updates. Like, you look at like the Ark. The Ark is a big update in itself.
It's a big skilling update.
It has skilling updates in it. It's got mini quests, etc. There's nothing to say you're famous. Like, there's nothing wrong with just releasing a new tree. Like when Ivy was released, Ivy was an update. It added a milestone. Like when you get to 67 woodcutting, maybe 68. You could do some like sort of AFK woodcutting, but you no longer make money. Like, we want to just do more of that and sometimes keep them simple. Like, simple isn't a bad thing, for sure.
And it's good because we're getting some diversity in the release schedule, not just in skilling, which is great. We're getting some questing in there, getting some skilling in there. Okay, all right. Enough about skilling. We're going to just want to kind of remind you of a few things that are happening at the moment. There is the Ninja poll in game currently, so please do go in there and vote. There are 15 questions. They're all cracking, so let the Ninja team know what their priorities are. On Friday, we're planning to release something called the Build a Backlog poll. So Build a Backlog poll is us releasing everything, well, not releasing, sorry, showing you transparently everything that we've put onto our backlog in the past month. This could be like our ideas, player ideas, just random things that have appeared on the backlog, who knows. And to get a sense of whether or not you want us to make them. And what that will do is help us to prioritize our backlog, move things up and down, so that we're only releasing the good stuff. So this is something we're trying. We're going to try to do it frequently after that, but that's on Friday. There's going to be a blog at the same time. This is where the infamous trimmed skilling pets is on there, which is causing a lot of kind of chatter as well. So get posting about that. There's also a new one, the RuneScape Discord server. So this is discord.gg/rs. This is in particular at the moment being used, I think, for the player-owned farm. So we announced player-owned farm last live stream. That is being worked on by the judges, so Mod Rowley, Mod Raven. And they are looking for ideas for animals. They're looking for ideas for rewards of how it can plug into farming. Get on there, start giving your ideas. I think they're also doing designer farm animal at some point at the moment. So we've been getting those in, so please do. And it's also worth noting, of course, LootScape. So that will be dropped at the end of the stream. This week, just to remind you, a loot crate contains a clue scroll, and the difficulty of it is dependent on your total level, and there is a chance that any elite clue can be upgraded to a master. There we go. Anything you want to mention?
Yeah, just a few questions, because they're spamming it, so I may as well answer. The Group Iron Man question is here, like when, and the sort of information about it. I think Mod Ramen posted when the month ahead went up.
Yep.
About how his focus has been on Solak, trying to get that the best it can be. That's why Solak was, is where it is now.
Yep.
And that Group Iron Man is his next thing. I know that he did an unofficial sort of Twitter poll recently, just asking, what sort of numbers. But I know that he plans to in the coming weeks. Don't quote me on that because I know he's on holiday soon. But to sort of like post more of a dev blog about Group Iron Man,
Yeah.
like ask some key questions, to sort of
Group sizes,
Yeah.
bosses.
really wants to get people involved in
Yeah.
the process of it. So I'd say within like either the end of this month or maybe next is when you'll start sort of like definitely seeing him talking
Chatter
about
about
it.
it. Yeah, and it's also worth you mentioned Solak. So we said in the month ahead, Solak is next month, which it's been given some time to have your 2-player mode.
duo
It's
mode.
looking amazing, and just crazy number of playthroughs. Really, I think that's one of the biggest reasons.
There's loads of playthroughs, ridiculous amounts.
You just want to get it perfect. All right. There we go. Are there any other questions in the chat? If not, then we will leave it there. Thank you very much. All the best wishes to Shawnee. Hope your scan has gone well. Good luck with the Gobi. And we will catch you sometime in the future. Do we have a stream next week?
I don't know yet.
We don't know yet. There you go. We're pros. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys. Goodbye.
Goodbye.